Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. About that dollar bounce analysis. http ntvforex.com news ID C5626F89 2023 57:57 p.m. The US dollar did not recover as much ahead of the jobs as we flagged a week ago, and the technical condition is still stretched. NBSP The price action lends credence to our view that a technical consolidative corrective phase is at hand. Further near-term dollar recovery looks likely but does not change our longer-term bearish outlook. Dollar index NBSP A bottom was carved and tested near 92.50. NBSP it is potentially a double bottom. NBSP A move above 94.00 is needed to confirm it, though others might not be convinced until 94.50 area 20-day moving average is surpassed. NBSP The measuring objective of the double bottom is around 95.50, and the 95.80 is a retracement objective. NBSP The MACD appears poised to turn higher while the slow stochastic bottomed late last month, setting up a modest bullish divergence. Euro NBSP a potential double top is in the euro. NBSP it checked the air above $1.19 at the end of July and made a fractional new high in recent days. NBSP in between, it had fallen a little through $1.1700. NBSP that is the neckline of the double top and implies a measuring objective of near $1.15. NBSP we had offered a $1.1650 target last week. NBSP the 20-day moving average $1.1630 and the halfway mark of the rally off last month's low $1.1640 are near there as well. NBSP the next retracement 61.8% is found closer to $1.1550. NBSP the MACD and slow stochastic are rolling over. NBSP note 2 that implied vol rose along with the euro, and as the single currency corrects lower, vol will likely ease. NBSP the chart here since 2008 illustrates the importance of the area euro has approached. NBSP the fate of the 12-year downtrend is at stake. NBSP Japanese yen NBSP the dollar posted its first leg up against the yen in dramatic fashion, with a key reversal from 104 Japanese yen on July 31. NBSP follow-through buying lifted it to nearly 106 Japanese yen and 50 sen at the start of last week. NBSP there were a few days on consolidation, and the next leg up appears to have begun before the weekend. NBSP we suspect it can rise into the 107 Japanese yen 107 Japanese yen and 50 sen. NBSP the 200-day moving average lies a little above the 108 Japanese yen, around the upper end of its previous range. NBSP the slow stochastic turned higher at the end of July. NBSP the MACD is also edging higher. British pound NBSP a double top also may be in place for sterling. NBSP the pound reached a high on the last day of July near $1.3170, and on August 6, a little above $1.3185. NBSP in between, it slipped to around $1.2980. NBSP the break confirms the pattern with a measuring objective of the $1.2780 area. NBSP the 20-day moving average and the 50% retracement of the last leg up of sterling that began near $1.1520 on July 20 also comes in near there. The next retracement 61.8% comes in a little below the double top objective $1.2770. NBSP the momentum indicators are just begun rolling over. Canadian dollar NBSP the US dollar fell to 6-month lows against the Canadian dollar around 1.3230 Canadian dollars in the middle of last week, but rebounded back to 1.3400 Canadian dollars amid the wider greenback recovery ahead of the weekend. NBSP the 20-day moving average is found near 1.3435 Canadian dollars, and the high from late last month is a little higher 1.3460 Canadian dollars. NBSP a push there would signal a test on the 1.3500 Canadian dollars 1.3530 Canadian dollars, and near the upper end of that range, the 200-day moving average is found. NBSP. The momentum indicators are floundering in overextended territory and have yet to convincingly curl up. Australian dollar NBSP. NBSP. The potential topping pattern is not as aesthetically pleasing as the euro or sterling. NBSP. It made a high at the end of July a little above $0.7225. NBSP. NBSP. It fell to about $0.7075 before rebounding and reached nearly $0.7245 before the pre-weekend sell-off. NBSP. The greenback's recovery saw the Aussie fall through and close below the previous day's low, for a key reversal. NBSP. NBSP. A break of the $0.7075 area would confirm the topping pattern and project towards $0.6925. NBSP. There are several areas of intermittent support. The $0.7040 area is the 50% retracement of the rally that began in early July. The $0.7000 area is of modest psychological importance, and the next retracement 61.8% objective is also there. NBSP. NBSP. The MACDs are not helpful now, and the slow stochastic has turned lower. Mexican peso. NBSP. NBSP. Emerging markets, for which the Mexican peso often serves as a proxy, seemed to turn lower against the dollar before the majors. NBSP. Leaving aside the Turkish lira, where officials have finally appeared to abandon their ill-conceived currency strategy, emerging market currencies remained under pressure, with the J.P. Morgan Emerging Market Currency Index falling for the second consecutive week. NBSP. Last week's 1.5% decline is the largest decline in 3.5 months. NBSP. The dollar rose around 3.3% against the rand last week after gaining 2.4% in the prior week. NBSP. Last week, the dollar's nearly 4% gain against the Brazilian real was the most among emerging market currencies. NBSP. The greenback looks poised, may be range-bound between around 22 Mexican pesos and 30 centavos and 23 Mexican pesos. Our near-term bias is for a stronger dollar, but it closed softly ahead of the weekend. NBSP. NBSP. Chinese yuan. NBSP. The yuan looks rich, given the dollar's recovery ahead of the weekend and given the escalation and broadening tensions with the US. NBSP. NBSP. It traded at its best level since March with the dollar at a low 6.9360 Chinese yuan. A trend line drawn off the late May high 7.1770 Chinese yuan comes at the start of next week near 6.9860 Chinese yuan, but a move back to if not above CNY 7.0 seems likely. NBSP. NBSP. Around 4.75% 3-month implied vol is low compared with other currencies, but it is above its 200-day moving average 4.4%. The skew in the options market 3-month risk reversal favoring dollar calls edged up slightly last week. NBSP. NBSP. While the skew is still low, it did increase more than the 1-month tenor and could be picking up some risks around the US election. Gold. NBSP. New record highs were seen before the weekend near $2,075.50, but then gold reversed lower and fell below the previous day's low 2034.55, though closed slightly above it. NBSP. The bearish price action is intuitively consistent with the dollar's bounce and the signal from the momentum indicators. NBSP. The slow stochastic is poised to turn lower and did not confirm the new price high. NBSP. The MACD is poised to cross down. NBSP. Initial support is expected in the $1,980-$2,000 area. NBSP. The rally has been so sharp that even a modest 38.2% of the recent rally from early last month is closer to $1,955. Oil. NBSP. The September WTI contract reached a 5-month high $43.50 in the middle of last week, just shy of the 200-day moving average $43.80. NBSP. This marked the end of a 4-day net close-to-close rally of nearly 5.7%. NBSP. Crude trade heavily in the second half of the week. NBSP. It tested the upper end of a band of support that extends from around $39.80 to $41 before the weekend. NBSP. The MACD has been trending lower since early mid-June. NBSP. The slow stochastic has actually turned up from mid-range. NBSP. Still, our bias is lower. NBSP US rates. NBSP The US rates have found a near-term floor. NBSP The 2-year has held the 10 BP record low. NBSP traders may have thought about pushing the 10-year yield below 50 BP, but have pulled back. NBSP The 30-year yield held 1.15% and recovered to almost 1.25%. NBSP There is some thought that with a weak dollar environment and near record low interest rates, some concessions may be needed to induce a robust reception to the U.S. quarterly refunding. It is as if the inventory must be distributed to make room for new product. The Treasury will raise $112 BLN, $48 BLN 3-year, $28 BLN 10-year, and $26 BLN 30-year in coupon sales, which is about 16% more than the previous quarterly refunding. NBSP The Treasury has announced intentions to sell $132 more coupons in the August-October period than it did the last 3 months as it seeks to fund the huge gap between revenues and expenditures. NBSP One implication is that it would seem to boost the chances that the yield curve steepens. NBSP The 2-10-year curve briefly dipped below 40 BP last week, a low since late April. NBSP There is scope to claw back toward 50 BP in the coming weeks. NBSP The 2-30-year curve has been bouncing off 107 BP for 2 weeks. It can steepen toward 125 BP in the period ahead. NBSP S&P 500 NBSP The benchmark gained almost 2.5% last week and filled the old breakaway gap from February 3,328.5. NBSP The S&P 500 gapped higher to start the week, and the gap takes on additional technical significance because it appears on the weekly and monthly charts as well. NBSP That gap, for reference, is roughly between 3,272.20 and 3,284.5. NBSP It then gapped higher on Wednesday, and that gap is unfilled as well, 3,306.8 3,317.4. NBSP This area may offer initial support. NBSP The MACDs are not yielding any useful signal, while the slow stochastic turned up in the past week after barely correcting the overextended reading. The S&P closed firmly, setting new highs were set for the week in the run-up to the close. NBSP There seemed to be little in the way of a test on the record high set in February around 3,393.5. NBSP Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors.